back, everybody, to another episode of Bikes and Bourbon. I'm Russ from Pathless Pedal.
I'm Toffer from Pedal Missoula.
And we have special guests.
I'm Jason from Swift Industries.
I'm also from Swift Industries. My name is Martina.
And as always, we're going to taste some bourbon, talk some bikes. You guys are in town just for a couple days, so we're stoked to have you on. But first, it's actually not bourbon, it's scotch today.
Yeah.
So what are we drinking?
Oban 14. Different thing here. Russ and I have been talking scotch a lot, so...
Are you guys scotch fans or just...
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah. I'll just go down the line here.
Yeah.
It was aged for 14 years.
Okay.
It was made in Oban.
Is this a Speyside or Isla? Probably like a Speyside, right? Not so much.
I don't know what words. I know what words you're saying, but I don't know geographically where they fall on
There's
the.
gonna be some serious comments.
Scotland.
Not super smoky, so probably not an Isla.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay.
Do we start with the
I'm gonna get my phone
whoa,
out.
Whoa, whoa, buddy!
I'm gonna get my phone out and I'm gonna get in trouble.
I ruined the show. Well, now I've tasted it, so it doesn't matter.
So you picked up something interesting.
Yeah, so at the very beginning, it smelled like really kind of like sour apples to me with a little bit of spice.
Okay. Yeah, when you said that, like I took another whiff of it, and I was picturing a baked apple.
And then it morphed into.
Oh, well, curdled milk.
That's weird. Yeah.
But for full disclaimer, I just drank a kombucha. So I don't think that I have a clean palate.
I get the apples.
I get the apples.
I mean, it's definitely on the fruitier side. It doesn't taste like a tire fire, like some PD stuff.
Yeah.
Can I taste it yet?
Yeah, no, go ahead. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I actually do taste the apple again.
You?
Yeah.
I get like a spiced
Email
apple.
them.
Y'all are in town because I think
For fun.
for fun. But so Martina was in Whitefish.
Yeah,
For
totally.
the Whitefish at the Whitefish Bike Retreat for the WTF Bike Explorer Summit.
Totally.
I think I said all of that. Like
That was
Bike
correct.
Explorer Summit or Bike Summit?
Bike Explorer Summit.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you were up there, and then you biked. You did the summit and had that. Maybe we can get some more details.
Yeah,
But then you biked from there to Missoula.
totally. On the Great Divide mountain bike route.
Right.
And joined up with Missoula on the new spur trail that connects into Missoula, and it was a blast.
So how was that spur trail?
It was like,
Not a loaded question.
So the spur trail was incredible. It was so beautiful. It's 60 miles that connects from, I think, basically kind of like Lake Sealy-ish area out to Missoula. Out of the 60 miles, 66 of them were incredible. Pretty punchy climbing and some amazing descents. You just like can't stop grinning ear to ear. And then comes this very last section that the folks at ACA are very well aware of. That's really a hike-a-bike for like 4 miles. Pretty steep, fairly technical mountain bike trail that's up in the Rattlesnake Wilderness just outside of town here. And we schlepped our bikes and got real bruised up. And we had a blast.
Yeah.
It didn't really matter.
so when you get to Missoula, that first like meal you have is just extra delicious.
Oh, totally.
Would you have?
Can't remember. No, we went directly to the brewery. Yeah.
Tamarack? Or
I think to Tamarack.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
You
You got
had
the
a-
nachos or
No. I got meat.
Like, give me all the meat.
I think we're kind of similar in that way. Like, I think we both really like meat.
Yeah.
And after I exercise, I kind of just want raw meat.
Right.
That's like all I want.
Jason's journey here was similarly arduous.
I flew in a small airplane
Flew?
to meet Martina.
And we
And
did a,
fish.
and you guys did you guys did 2 overnights actually. You guys
Yeah.
did the Jack Saloon Loop.
Yes.
Yeah.
We sent them
Jack
out.
Saloon.
They wanted to do an overnight in town that kind of showcases some of the gravel and up and over Lolo Pass and down. How was it? Was it good?
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
It was so great. Our friend Whitney Ford Terry sent along a really, really great route that I think is pretty common around here or well known. And it did not disappoint. The gravel was gorgeous. The roads were so pretty. The views over what I'm assuming is called the Missoula Valley. Really, really beautiful. And then I feel like we got like a real glimpse of those like open like riverbed ranches that Montana feels well known for.
Everything was so quiet.
Yeah, and like honestly, like ever since we left Whitefish, the drivers have been amazing.
Oh, really? That's good.
We've not had one single instance where anybody has been rude to us. Everybody's been like super encouraging.
All right.
And given us a ton of space. So
Nice. So they did that, and then last night we grabbed some local Missoula folks and did that overnight in the Rattlesnake. And you left early,
I did.
but on the way back we saw
Responsibility.
or we left late.
Yeah, they left late.
We're on vacation.
But we saw a bear.
We saw a bear.
Did you hear
I
that?
heard about the bear.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
rad.
He's
Maybe-
ginormous.
It seemed very confused when we came around the corner.
Yeah.
And then it hung out in the
Yeah.
bushes.
Yeah, I think that might be the closest I've been to. Like, as we rode by, it was hanging out in the bushes. That was probably like 20 feet away. And
Yeah.
it was just like,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that felt special and kind of nice. It was Catherine's last day before she flew out.
Yeah.
And we have seen so many traces of bears,
Right.
from footprints to a lot of berry-filled poop
Yeah.
on the Divide Trail. And so it felt kind of nice to have that be like the send-off.
The suit of bear.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about, one of, I think the cool things that you guys are doing is you're mixing, bike stuff with other activities, like the Elwha bag is a great example. Outside of bikes, although bikes are awesome, what are other things that you guys enjoy
Russ,
doing?
there's nothing else besides bikes.
That's true, but but for the sake of argument.
What else do? I fish. I think Russ and I got interested in fly fishing around the same time.
Yeah.
On
then-
YouTube, there exists an old video that Russ made of like the three of you, I think in Laura's.
The Iron Horse.
Or no,
Was that it?
It was the one where we were on the Sandy and we were still head fishing.
But I think
Yeah.
that the
Yeah.
Iron Horse.
We took Megan.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yep.
I think there's probably been a couple.
There's
YouTube, YouTube now is a repository for all these memories. You can go back and relive them.
There's some content out there from our Iron Horse Lake Cochise.
Oh, yeah.
What was that? Box Creek Canyon.
Yeah. But also, like, we did a bike fishing class together at Ravello
Yep.
Yeah.
in
In
Portland.
Portland. For
Yeah,
the-
Tinkara Rodco and
was that
Reddington supported it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But you're also like training for a pretty serious trail run.
Yep. I'm getting ready for a 30 mile, so 50K trail run.
On his birthday.
You're turning, so you're turning 30K.
It's my 10th annual
30.
30th birthday. Yeah.
So what's your long run now?
Well, this week. My long run right now is at like 14 miles.
Okay. What's
Which it should probably be a little bigger, but
what's
it's
gonna
fine.
be your longest run leading up to the event?
Hopefully at least 20 to 25.
Yeah.
How many
lot.
ultra distances have you done?
None.
Okay, this will be the first ultra.
This will be my first ultra.
So what made you want to do it? Was it just the 10th
I've done
anniversary
a
for
few
30th
25.
birthday?
I've done a few 25K trail runs. I really enjoy it. And I was just looking on Ultra Sign Up, as people do, and there just happened to be one in Tacoma, which is just south of Seattle, that was on my birthday proper.
Right.
And it also had, it was a looped course, so it had a 15K, a 25, or a 30K, and a 50K. So I was like, I want to do that. And then I think Martina and two other friends are going to do the 15K, like the one single loop 10 mile run. And then they'll be there to like, hopefully, help me.
Yeah. So did I see a picture of you doing a trail running event like not too long ago?
No events.
Yeah.
But trail running, yeah, probably the photo is from around December-ish. We went and did a point-to-point on Rattlesnake Ridge, which is in our neck of the woods in the Cascade Mountain Range. And I think that was definitely my longest run.
Yeah.
I think it was 11 or 13.
10 miles.
10 miles.
That's one of my training runs, and I'm hopefully gonna do
Yeah.
out back.
Yeah, it was awesome. And we went with a dear friend who is like never in a bad mood.
Right.
And she just kept like cheerleading me on, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
It really makes a huge difference to have somebody who's just like super excited to be running.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was a cool experience.
So you used to run a fair bit too.
What happened?
We got into bikes.
But what made you guys why running for you guys? I'm curious.
Oh, good
Is it just like
question.
a time versus workout like kind of ratio thing,
I think
or?
for me, it happened a number of years ago
Okay.
when we have a very active dog. We have a dog named Loki. He's a blue heeler, lots of exercise, and I don't particularly like walking.
Right.
You get-
Walking's boring.
Yeah, he gets super bored.
Yeah.
That and the dog, needs some activity
Right.
that's beyond just walks. So I started running as a way to get me exercise and the dog at the same time,
Right.
instead of me having to walk the dog and then have to
Yeah.
go do something else.
Yeah.
But it turns out our dog doesn't like running on pavement. He kind of refuses to. He'll trail run or mountain bike all day.
Yeah.
Right.
He's getting old, so
That's
he's getting
good.
slow. But like pavement, he's like, no,
Yeah.
not into it. So, but then I just kept going with it. And last year I was kind of stuck at like 5-6 mile runs. So I signed up for a half marathon training program. Not to do a marathon, but just because I felt like it was an accountability thing. Where there was a program, and I did it, and then I just kind of kept going with it,
Sweet.
and
Yeah.
now it's fun.
Yeah.
I really like it, and today I ran Sentinel Mountain.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Did like 5.5 miles, and it was super fun, and there was nobody up there, and it was
Yeah.
just the crunching of the rocks.
We're a
under
little
your feet.
smitten with Missoula.
Yeah.
I think it suits us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like how do you like your other activities like influence like the products or design?
I mean,
Like-
so
You want to go fly fishing, so you make a fly fishing bag.
yeah, I mean, basically everything is like
That's
really
cool.
selfish at Swift Industries. It is.
The bag I want.
Yeah, it has been since the very beginning. We would be lying to say otherwise.
Yeah.
It has like just followed our interests,
Yeah.
right? So I actually run mostly with our Sitka pack, which is just our hip pack.
Yeah.
And I love it. And when I'm running, I have to cinch it real high, so I look like somebody out of an LL Bean. And but it's great. It keeps like the weight on my hips, and I can carry what I need to carry if I'm going for a longer run.
Yeah.
And so that's been really good. For that 10 miler, I took like a mountain bike backpack with a hydration bladder, and I didn't like how much it moved around, but it's not designed to, I don't know, be in cadence for hours.
Right.
So, and I'm unlike Jason. I am not the kind of person who like goes whole hog into the gear at first at all. So I just kind of make do with what I've got, and because of that, I feel like my hip pack situations have been pretty dialed.
Yeah.
And the LWAT pack has also been.
I didn't do it.
Broke the studio.
The green screen.
Yeah. Like with the LWAT pack, that was really a conversation with the folks from Tenkara Rodco, who are equally excited about bikes and fishing as we are. And also, like, there was like a mutual excitement around just having like a pretty minimal set that fits really well with Tenkara fishing, and something that could go really easily between the handlebars and your hips.
Yeah.
And I think that ultimately, like, at the foundation of Swift is kind of this notion of arriving by bike. So we see bikes as like a pretty graceful segue into all these other recreation opportunities, or things like coloring or ... like other immersive experiences and interactive experiences with being in wilderness or within other cultures, or so that's a little bit, you can see that thread through.
Yeah, I know,
all
like
of our
personally, like as I've gotten older, still very passionate about bikes.
Also hit the big 3-0 recently.
Yeah, for the 10th time. But also realizing that,
Sure.
but also
That's
realizing
what we're here for, right?
that there's lots of other. But also realizing that there's other interests out there.
Yeah.
But bikes can still be incorporated in those interests. And sometimes I think as like cyclists or the cycling industry, we put ourselves in like too much of a silo.
Yeah.
But that's why I love things like bike fishing or like trail running and fly fishing.
Yeah.
Just kind of acknowledging, we're all like kind of, we like to recreate in the outdoors, and it's kind of dumb to just identify as just one kind of thing sometimes.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean,
So how long has the Swift Camp Out been going on?
4 years.
Yeah,
this was the
our
fourth year.
anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where it feels like the organization and like promoting that is not necessarily connected to, it's not like you tie it to like a bag sale, right? Like it's just purely like being enthusiastic about camping and going there by your bike.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like I'm like, whenever I see Swift Camp Out stuff, I'm not like, oh, they're just doing this so that their new bag gets bought. It feels like, no, they just want people to like go out with their friends into the woods on their bikes. And that might be like a 5-mile ride, and it might be a 30-mile ride, but like, it's just, you did it on your bike with your friends, and you had fun, and you camped, and
Yeah. It feels like Camp Out is like more than anything an ode to social media's potential for community building, which it isn't always used as such. And like, we know that like people all over are connecting to bike camping for like all different reasons. But it's also like a pretty incredible community of people. Like, I mean, we just like on the GDR, we were like riding along, and all of a sudden we stumbled on this individual who was clearly like kind of set up similarly to us. And then I was like, hey, what's up? And then it's like, we're internet friends. And then like that person got a route to Seattle from like a dear friend of ours in Seattle.
Right.
And then the person who was riding with us had that other was riding that person's bicycle that that the route maker had ridden to create that route that this person that we found on the divide was going to ride. And we were just like,
Yeah.
and then we were
Can
like,
I say that?
clearly we're homies.
Did I say the connector's name? Like, was that Andrew?
Yeah, so Andrew Squirrel.
Oh, you know Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew Squirrel was the
They ran
person.
into that Whitefish bike retreat. They were wrapping up a like
Yeah,
a
that's
bike.
Yeah, and so it was on the Orange Elephant.
Yeah.
And that was the trip where Andrew crossed over from basically the Montana route all the way over to Seattle. And then Ryan was looking for some intel on how to get across the state or states. And got in touch with Andrew.
Yeah.
And Catherine was riding Andrew's old bike. So,
Cool.
small world.
So all this brings back to mind that you were just at the Whitefish Bike Retreat.
Yeah.
And was there a moment that kind of stands out to you that you would feel comfortable sharing? Because I feel like some of that stuff is, from what I've like gathered, there's a lot of like really personal storytelling, and it was just a lot of things there that was kind of in the moment, and so want to respect that space. But is there?
Yeah, I mean,
kind of,
I think in summary, like the most remarkable thing about the weekend was being in a space that was like clearly obsessed with bikes, that was equally emotionally intelligent and like vocal around that. And so it was just a totally new and expansive experience for me to understand that like we could talk about navigation and route building, but then we also kind of had to talk about violence against women and trans people as travelers, because that's all part of how we have to figure out our navigation. And we can talk about like physical navigation, but we rarely, especially in the bike and outdoor fields, talk about emotional navigation. And so it was totally mind-blowing for me to be in a space where people were really expressing those things. And that we were able to express our experiences and then like kind of deepen them through other people's stories. One of the other things that I thought was really impactful for me was listening to how, like, sometimes when you listen to other people's language around an experience, it brings clarity to your own experiences of something. And it's hard without giving like an example specifically, but it's like one of those things where you hear a term like unpaid emotional labor was something that was spoken about a lot in terms of like trans communities feeling like they often are the ones who have to explain gender and the gender spectrum to like cis people and straight people, and then that's just like it takes an emotional toll. And just hearing it in those like in that very succinct language, it's something that I've been feeling for so long. And then those 3 words, I was like, bingo, that's it.
Right.
Like, well said. That is an experience that I carry, and observe and stuff. So I think those were the things that were really profound. And I also think that we initially, like, we heard about the summit and then we were like, we just want to take the energy from the summit and spend at least a week to 10 days just on our bikes to kind of like synthesize what had happened there. And that was incredible. That was the best decision. Because it's meditative to be on the road.
Right.
And there are a lot of climbs where you're just like you're churning out, you know, whatever, your thoughts and reflections with every pedal stroke. And because 3 out of the 4 of us had attended the summit, it just made for like really rich digestion of what had happened. So.
But also, like, as a outside observer, it seems like it's the content of the conversation, you know, was like kind of unique to the organizers. Like, if you left the bike industry to come up with something like this, it would not.
It wouldn't
like
have
this at all.
happened.
Yeah.
And partly like rightfully so. Like, I don't think that. So the bike, and we're gonna get a little bit like political now, but just keep drinking.
Remember, we break past the halfway mark.
But the bike industry is largely male and white. And so it's not really the bike industry's or those individuals' place to initiate and speak about women's experiences, trans people's experiences, queer people's experiences, people of color, because that's not who the industry is.
Right.
But it's fucking time to start hiring all of these people that I've mentioned, because what, if not anything else, like from that space of being around over 100 individuals, like we are so capable. And the wealth of experience, technical experience, and I kind of hate that I have to like emphasize that, right? Like we are on par. So hire us, and then the industry can really start talking and initiating conversations from a less appropriative place, I guess. So that with you guys.
So bikes.
Well, not gracefully do this transition.
Yeah, it's cool.
You have a really nice bike.
I do.
That I know. I know that. So the frame builder he's in Bellingham.
Yeah.
Totally. I guess I was thinking about this because you described it as like a rando light.
Yeah.
But then what I don't know, like what were you thinking when you had it built? Like, is this something that he makes a lot of? Is this like a typical frame for him to kind of make, or did you have all sorts of quirky requirements?
Donkalo Bikes is the name of the project created by Greg Heath, who is in Bellingham. And Greg is like an incredibly strong cyclist. It's remarkable. And actually like a very focused road rider in addition, but actually like really spends most of his time mountain biking. And so he makes both kinds of bikes when he builds bikes.
He makes us all look bad.
Yeah, and he's like, he races cross wearing gauntlets and is like super metal and
he's also a
just
professional.
cool.
Like he's a union welder, so he welds professionally on much more important things like bicycles.
Yeah, and like takes bikes, like making bikes super seriously, but is like full-time job union welder. So I had been actually having a lot of challenges with stock bicycles and geometry. And from sewing all the time, that in conjunction with being like just not well suited to stock sizing, I had a lot of chronic pain. And so eventually I just kind of decided that it wasn't worth it. I spent too much time on my bike to be in pain, and went for it and had him make me a bike. And I knew that I was coming off of a Soma Saga, and this was probably like 2013-ish. Yeah, something like that, 2013 or 14. And the Saga was one of those bikes that like came alive when it was loaded and is designed as such. But I'm also kind of a bicycle monogamist. So I really I commit to one thing basically. So I'm a tough client in that way. And I was really unhappy commuting on my Saga because it had like no spring to its step. And so basically the way that I go over the technicality of bikes is like in the most non-technical way. I give descriptions of what I want, very clear descriptions. Like I want it to accelerate quickly, and I want it to be like this general shape because aesthetically I find that pleasing, and I want it to be able to have like a dynamo hub and basically always lit. And so then Jason, who has way more of like the technical vocabulary, helped me like convert all of those wishes into the specs to direct to Greg with. And then Greg and I just had like a couple of lengthy conversations.
Sweet. Well, I'm gonna take it home, but I'm gonna ask one more pointed question. So we did that bike overnight last night. Discussions were had. Riding back today, you asked me the question. I'm gonna ask it back of you. Like
No.
and you guys can both answer. If you were not doing Swift, what would you be doing?
Something with my hands.
Yeah. I've been leading outdoor trips and been a bike mechanic for so long. Like, I don't know. I thrive on fixing, working on things, or taking people out on trips.
Right.
Whether it's climbing or cycling or just hiking, I just like giving people a good experience, and I like working with my hands. So, like bookkeeping is not my forte, but that's what I do now.
It's impressive that you're just 30.
For the 10th time.
You're really in the
you lived a lifetime.
You lived a lifetime in just 30 years.
Yeah.
I feel like the things that I love are in some ways similar. Like I love storytelling, and I love facilitating experiences for people that maybe inspire deeper inquiry. And so that can be like certainly education. It can also be self-reflection. Yeah, I have a ton of fun with that. I worked as a high school teacher, and that was a really good fit. So in some ways, like that means like I actually love like anything kind of with a story arc too. So the branding and marketing stuff is like, I love it so much. It's so rich. I feel like I have a brain for like really finding the less visible connections between the evident and the less evident. And I can draw those out. I think that's a skill. It sounds weird, but it could be really fun to be in marketing. I also think that it would be really amazing to work with other small businesses. And maybe one day when Swift is in a different, more stable place, that's like something that I can endeavor in, is like taking all of these years of experience and helping other people build their companies.
Like a small business mentorship or...
Yeah, and it would be like really incredible to work again with the less appreciated business owning communities to just strengthen our autonomy. I think it's really impactful.
So taking it home...
Make this transition, Russ.
I'm
Social media
transition
guru.
the shit out of this, man. So what's the verdict? Yay or nay on the Oban? I really like it. Like, I mean...
Oban?
Hold on. Let Martina get all of her puns out.
Thanks, Oban.
It was, I mean, for Scotch, like super friendly. Like if you guys are maybe bourbon drinkers but are Scotch curious and want something that's not gonna be a tire fire in your, mouth hole. This
all really great things.
All technical terms.
Yeah. This is super friendly.
It's smooth.
Yeah.
For a Scotch.
Sometimes people talk about Scotch.
It can be intimidating.
Oban is like, I think one of the ones that people say like you should try or go do, and I feel like it like lives up to its kind of reputation for maybe being like a Scotch to try, top 5 Scotch, because it does kind of like invite you into the world of Scotches, and I'm still horrible at like identifying Scotch flavors.
I don't know.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
At
like
the end.
Like I'm like
it's like bikes. I mean, you get like a bike for commuting, and then it's like the gateway drug.
oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I want to get a mountain bike, or I want to get a road bike, or I want to get a rando bike because I want to ride on gravel or whatever.
Right. We should do a bike and whiskey pairing. Like what would that would that?
That's how we rate our.
On that note, thanks again for watching. Or listening. Hopefully you guys have stuck it out. Thank you, Swift Industries, for being guests on this thing that we do. And cheers. Until next time.
Keep yourself upside down.
Cheers.